The first time I saw her, I thought she was a nightmare given flesh. The ruins of planet Kareth. 7 were silent except for the whistling wind passing through the skeletal remains of its cities. I was there as part of an expedition crew sent by the Interstellar Coalition, tasked with recovering lost databanks after a decades-old planetary war. We believed the planet was dead, lifeless, uninhabited. Then she stepped out of the shadows. Her body resembled a human woman, but taller, heavily built with a long, predatory tail swaying behind her. Thick fur covered her arms and shoulders, and her face was something between feline and human, with amber eyes burning like molten suns. Armor made from bone and metal plates wrapped her upper body. On her hip rested a blade that looked more ceremonial than practical. She didn't speak. She only watched me, head tilted, nostrils flaring, as if tasting my scent in the air. The others in my squad lifted their rifles instantly. I should have too. But I didn't. Something in her stare didn't radiate hostility, only recognition, as if she knew me. The others didn't hesitate. They opened fire. She moved before I even registered the first shot. Blur. 3 soldiers hit the sand in seconds, their rifles torn away, armor cracked like brittle glass. The survivors ran, terrified, scrambling into the shuttle. The engines ignited and the ship fled the atmosphere, leaving me alone. I raised my hands, even though I knew I couldn't stop her. But she didn't attack. She approached slowly, her tail curling behind her, eyes locked to mine. Her voice was deep, metallic but feminine, and she spoke in my language. I have found you. Before I could run, speak, or even breathe, she pressed a clawed hand to my chest. Heat surged through my body as something burned into my skin, searing, ancient, and painful. I screamed. Then the world faded to black. Middle. I woke inside a stone dwelling lit by bioluminescent torches, lying on a bed of woven hides. My body ached, but the pain in my chest was sharpest. When I lifted my shirt, I saw it. A glowing sigil burned into my skin, not tattooed but alive, pulsing like it was syncing with my heartbeat. She sat nearby, sharpening her bone blade. When she realized I was awake, she, surprisingly, did not come closer. "The mark binds you to me," she said simply. Pushed myself up. "I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for anything from you." She didn't react. Didn't defend herself. "You were not asked. You were chosen." The way she said that terrified me far more than her claws or razor teeth ever could. She explained, reluctantly and only when pressed, that she belonged to the Valoran, a warrior race engineered hundreds of years ago to fight in the civil war that destroyed Kareth 7. Their purpose was simple: destroy anything the overlords commanded them to. But she wasn't like the others. Her name was Rika, and she had been designed with intuition, the ability to sense the bearer, the one person genetically compatible to end the Valoran curse. Whoever she marked became a link, a shared life force. If she died, I would die. If I died, she would feel every second of it. We were bound. I told her I wanted no part of it. I wanted to go home to my crew, to a quiet life without war, without monsters. Her reply was chilling. "Then you should not have been born with the blood that calls to mine." I hated her for that. But hate didn't break the bond. The hunters. 3 days later, the sky split open. A warship descended. Not coalition, not human. Valoran hunters. Larger, stronger, and more savage than Rika. They had been tracking her since the fall of the planet, desperate to stop the prophecy that foretold the end of their bloodline. Their leader, a monstrous giant covered in obsidian black fur, roared across the battlefield. "Give us the bearer, and the death of your kind will be swift." Rika's tail lashed in defiance. He is mine. I choose my own path. And the war began. Rika threw me behind shattered metal walls as energy bolts shook the ground. Every time she took a hit, the mark on my chest flared and I coughed blood, my body sharing her wounds. I wanted to run. I wanted to hide. But I couldn't leave her. Not because of the bond, but because for the first time I saw the fear in her eyes. She was fighting not for herself, but for me. A Valoran hunter broke through the wall and grabbed me by the throat. In that moment Rika roared, not with rage, but with something primal and desperate, as if losing me meant losing the only thing she was ever sure about. She killed the hunter with one brutal strike. I stared at her, chest heaving, body shaking. Why protect me? I demanded. You dragged me into this. You ruined my life. She loomed above me, for once not warrior or beast, just a woman breaking apart. Because you are the first thing I ever chose for myself. I didn't know how to answer. The bond changes. The final hunter left standing was their leader. Rika was wounded, limping, bleeding from dozens of cuts. The mark on my chest burned so intensely that I could barely breathe. If she fought him alone, we'd both die. So I stood beside her. She tried to push me away, begging me to run, but I held my ground. I wasn't a warrior, had no training, but I had one purpose now. Keep her alive. The moment battle resumed, instinct, hers, surged into my limbs through the mark. My body moved with reflexes I never possessed. I ducked when she dodged. I struck when she struck. We fought like one creature with two bodies. Together, we brought the giant hunter to his knees. But he was not finished. With a fury-filled howl, he struck a death blow, aimed straight at me. Rika threw her body in front of mine. The blade punched through her chest. She fell into my arms. The mark scorched my skin, screaming with pain, and I sobbed as she collapsed against me. I chose you, she whispered. Not because of the prophecy, but because my heart knew yours. I held her, helpless, powerless, feeling her life leave her, and knowing mine was about to be taken with it. But the prophecy wasn't about death. It was about sacrifice. The mark exploded with light, not killing but restoring. Wound sealed. Breath returned. The hunters disintegrated into ash as the curse binding the Valorans shattered. Rika gasped, awakening. Alive. Free. She looked at me as if seeing the universe for the first time. The bond remains, she said quietly. But now we choose what it means. Ending. Kareth, 7 is no longer a dead world. The planet slowly awakens as the remaining Valorans scatter to forge a new life, not as weapons but as people. Rika stays by my side, not because she must, but because she wants to. We stand on the cliffs overlooking the reborn landscape as the wind dances through her fur. She places her clawed hand over the glowing sigil on my chest, a mark once forced on me, now something I carry with pride. You were afraid of destiny, she says. But destiny feared you. Smile. I once thought she was a nightmare. Now I know she was the beginning. Not a chain. Not a curse. But a choice we made together. And as the sons of Kareth, 7 rise, she looks at me. Not as a Beastwoman and not as a human, but as 2 souls bound by something far greater than fate. Our story is only beginning.